Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another video on the channel where today we have got the most overpowered FUT champs players. So if you do want to see more videos like this, do drop a thumbs up, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well if you do find this useful and it improves your FUT champs weekend. But going into the goalkeepers, starting off we have got Wojciech Szczesny, who is an amazing goalkeeper this year, also plays in a very popular league, so it's very easy to link up playing for Juventus. We then got Alisson, who again is an amazing goalkeeper, links up perfectly with Virgil van Dijk, so I think you're going to see a lot of Alisson this year. Marc-Andre ter Stegen is a goalkeeper that I use all the time. He's in my current team and he's a very, very good goalkeeper. I can vouch for that. And then Edwin van der Sar, any version of van der Sar is amazing, but especially this 87 card seems to be extremely good if you ever play with it in draft, and it's something I've come across so far in FUT champs and does seem to be a monster goalkeeper. Moving into the fullbacks, starting off we've got Alex Telles, who is a pretty good cheap fullback to use at the minute. You know, he's got an incredible card. He's only around 5,000 coins on Xbox. He's a great choice being Brazilian as well, very easy to link up. Kyle Walker is probably the best right back you can get at the moment that's gold. Again, very, very popular this year. Alexandro is kind of like a more expensive version of Telles if you can afford to move up, and again gets some great links being from the Serie A. Andy Robertson obviously gets that super strong link with Virgil van Dijk, so you're going to see a lot of Robertson this year. Nelson Semedo also completes that kind of trio at the back where you've got Longley, ter Stegen and then Semedo right back, so you're going to see a lot of Semedo. And then Zambrotta and Alberto are going to be amazing right backs later in the game for most people's teams when they start to get icon right backs and stuff. I think that Alberto card is insane. Zambrotta as well is an amazing fullback. Moving into the centre backs, we've got Eder Militao, who's obviously a super popular centre back, especially with pros as well. You're going to see a lot of Militao. I imagine a lot of you guys use him at the moment. Hernandez is an incredible centre back as well. You know, that pace, good defending and physical, and good work rates as well. Longley, as I talked about, works up pretty well with Semedo and ter Stegen in that defence. You're going to see a lot of that this year. Rafa Varane is an amazing centre back again this year. He's one of the best for sure, with that pace that just bails him out. Virgil van Dijk is probably the best defender in the game this year. He's like a cheat code. Van Dijk, he's just so good. He just never seems to do anything wrong or make any mistakes. And then icon-wise, Laurent Blanc is always an incredible centre-back. Carlos Puyol is actually a really, really good centre-back. Again, if you've used him on draft this year, Carlos Puyol is, I think, a centre-back you're going to see a lot this year as well. And then Paolo Maldini is always, in my opinion, my favourite centre-back to use. He's just so good. And again, he's going to see him a lot this year in FUT champs. Defensive mids, I think we've got Fabinho, who's a monster. I use him in my team. Again, he intercepts so many passes. He's an absolute beast. We've got Axel Witsel, who now with that flashback pitch check actually will be a pretty useful card. You might see a lot of Witsel in CDMs in FUT champs. Alan is an incredible player. Again, a lot of pros do use Alan. Amazing CDM, you know, great defending and physical, very good pace as well. And N'Golo Kante is obviously a machine, and you're going to see him in a lot of people's Premier League teams. And then any version of Patrick Vieira is always insane, but this 86 version is the one that I've chosen, and it is incredible. I used it last year a lot, and he is just incredible. He's different level. You get someone like Vieira in your team, and he's just different level, and you're going to see a lot of Patrick Vieira this year in FUT champs. Box to box midfielders, we've got Leon Goretzka, who is an amazing choice. I've used Goretzka a lot in my Bundesliga team, and he was very good. Paul Pogba again is an amazing player this year. I love using Paul Pogba. And then we've got Michael Ballack, who's one of my favourite midfielders just to watch, just in general in real football. He's an amazing box to box midfielder. Ruud Gullit is obviously the one that we all want and we all wish we could afford, because he is just probably the best midfielder in the game, bar none. And then Lothar Matthäus as well is an absolute monster. He's so good. Can just do everything. He's got amazing pace, good shooting, very good defending as well, nice passing. So Matthäus is again an amazing box-to-box midfielder. You'll see a lot later in FIFA. Attacking midfielders, we've got quite a good choice here. We've got Kai Havertz, who's a lot of people use. I think he's a very good player. Having used him myself, a very good experience. You know, if you're on someone like Kai Havertz now, you'll be experiencing the same thing of how good he is. Roberto Firmino, I'm currently using in my team. Again, he's amazing. He's just as good as he was last year. He's just, for some reason, he just seems to be so good. And again, being Brazilian, gets some amazing links with players like Neymar and Alexandro and players like that. So he's an amazing player to have in your team. Paulo Dybala is a cam, someone that a lot of people actually surprisingly do use, even though he's not really a FUT champs type player. But Paulo Dybala is an incredible player to use. Then I've got Marco Reus, who is an incredible player. You can use him as a striker. I typically use him as a cam. But again, Marco Reus does get that link with Witsel as well, so you're going to see a lot of Reus. Kind of any versions of these cards, not necessarily gold cards, but they can move up to special cards, but these are the best players to use. Antoine Griezmann, somebody I come up against all the time in FUT champs, and he's just a menace. His left foot It's like using Messi. His left foot is just as good as someone like Messi. He just seems to score every time he gets on his left foot. Kevin De Bruyne is an amazing cam to use in the game, you know, having that 5-star weak foot. And then in terms of icons, Socrates is I used him last year. He was so underused, Socrates, last year, but I think he became more used towards the end of the year when people got his moments card. And again, Socrates for me, if you look at his in-game stats, stick a dead eye on him and you'll see how good he is. And then Zidane, I think, because new icon, everybody's going to want to be chasing that Zidane for their team later on in the game. Moving on to the wingers, again, there's a lot of good wingers this year in the game. Martial is someone who's very, very popular at the beginning. Ousmane Dembele, someone that I use a lot, is a very good winger, 5-star, 5-star. Gareth Bale is super popular, you know, great pace, amazing shooter for an 85 rate. He's got an incredible card. John Barnes is somebody that you're going to, I think, see a lot in FUT Champs. He's got a very good card for an icon. Sadio Mane is an incredible card. Garrincha for me is the one card that I really want this year in FIFA. It's just because I'm a bit of a skiller myself. I'm just so desperate to get this Garrincha card because I think it looks incredible. Neymar's my favourite player in world football, so obviously I'm looking forward to getting him again. He's an incredible player again this year in FIFA. And then of course Lionel Messi, who is the best player on the game, who needs no introduction. And then finally moving on to the strikers, the first page of 2, we've got Marcus Rashford, who is an incredibly good striker, very popular, something you're going to see a lot of people's teams at the minute. You've got Timo Werner, who's kind of like the German Marcus Rashford when you look at their cards being pretty similar. Ben Yedder is a really popular card this year in the game. I know like Run the Foot Market uses Ben Yedder a lot and he really likes him. Lucas Moura is someone that I personally don't really like. I used him in my team. I'm not a big fan of him, but you see him in a lot of people's teams, so he's definitely a player you're going to see a lot in champs. And then Heung-min Son with that pace defending, pace shooting and dribbling, my mistake, is again someone you're going to see in a lot of people's Premier League teams over the next couple of weeks. And then moving into the more elite strikers later on in the game, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is obviously something that people are going to use a lot. He's now got a Player of the Month card, so you're going to see him in a lot of people's teams. Kylian Mbappe is just a machine in this FIFA. If anything, he's better in this FIFA, I personally think, than he was in the last FIFA. And now he's a striker, he's just even better. Didier Drogba, again, any version of Drogba looks like he's going to be a monster this year. Kenny Dalglish is actually a really good striker if you ever use that Dalglish in draft. He's a very lethal striker, and I think you're going to see a fair amount of him this year in champs. Johan Cruyff, you could use him as a striker or a number 10 as a cam, but you're going to see him a lot this year. Ronaldo, of course, you know, Brazilian Ronaldo, who is just the best striker in the game for sure, especially that 96 Ronaldo. And then Pele is actually an incredible card this year. You know, previous years Pele hasn't been the best, but this year Pele seems to be a little bit different. He seems to be actually playing up to what his stats. And another one that I actually missed off the list was Eusebio, is another one that's very, very popular with the pros. So I think you're going to see a lot of Eusebio, especially if you're sort of a top 100, maybe an Elite 1 player, you're going to come up against Eusebio a lot. So he's another striker that you should maybe try and aim for if you have a wealth of coins. But that is it for the most overpowered FUT Champs players I think you're going to see this year in FIFA 20. So if you did find this useful, if we did leave any players off the list, do let me know in the comment section any of the players that you do come across. If you did enjoy this, do like, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well if you're new to the channel. That's all for today, guys. Have an awesome day. I'm out.